Welcome to the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm Simona Nicole, host of the show, mindset coach, and motivational speaker. I've made it my mission to help you get unstuck, shift your mindset, and understand your worth to help you live your most purposeful life. Each week, I will bring you an idea, guest, or a positive thought that will leave you inspired and empowered to win your life. We decide the stories we tell ourselves and where we invest our energy. I'm so grateful you popped in. Now let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. You are so in for an amazing treat on this episode. We have such a wonderful guest. She is so wonderful. Her energy is so amazing. Her name is Sirena, and she's a feminine leadership and empowerment mentor and Mermaid Alchemy Activator for entrepreneurs who are ready to say yes to their embodied, empowered leadership of light. Through utilizing her soul signature blueprint as a modern mermaid and the founder of Mermaid Alchemy, she activates the highest divine feminine radiance in leadership for female entrepreneurs so they can magnetize greater abundance, love, and divine freedom in their businesses, turning women on to their Inner Mermaid Goddess Queen. Sorry, that was a tongue twister for me. So welcome to the show, Stephanie. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to share everything.
I know it's
that is meant to come through.
I know. That's just how I am too. I'm like, well, here we are. This is how it's just going to be so amazing. To start us off, can you tell us a little bit about the journey that's brought you to where you are today in this amazing work that you do?
Absolutely. So my journey literally probably started when I was born, no joke. So I'm a miracle baby. I was born 2.5 months early, and there was only a 20% chance that I would live at birth. I was born in congestive heart failure.
Wow.
So, growing up as a child, I probably went through more trauma than a lot of children experience before the age of 5. And then when I fast forward to college, I had my quote spiritual awakening, like official spiritual awakening while I was in college. I started exploring holistic health and energy healing. I was in school for kinesiology, so I was really intrigued by, the holistic side of kinesiology as well. And then fast forward now 11 years later, I had my reawakening during my Saturn return, which is around age 28 to 30. Mine was a little bit longer. I came into my Saturn return around 29 and came out of it like 31, end of my 31 year. I went through a separation from my twin sister, and growing up, we were best friends. We did sports together. We went to college together, and I was always more in my masculine energy growing up. And masculine energy isn't just, men or male identified. We all carry masculine and feminine energy. And so while I was having my reawakening, I always knew that I was very, very connected to the waters. I was very connected to mermaid energy. I learned that very early on in my spiritual awakening. Never really dove too deep into it. I think I had this kind of resistance around it for a long time. So that is when I really started to explore, my divine feminine. I'll dive into mermaid energy later on in the episode. But I really started diving into like my own sovereign being and like what that looked like, what that felt like. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I've, explored entrepreneurship like for years now. And one thing led to another, and it just blossomed into this beautiful thing. And now I get to share it with the world and, get to bring such an enlightened new energy that, like a lot of people from what I have experienced aren't talking about. So kind of the long version, but short version in of itself.
I love that. Oh my God, there's so many amazing things that you've said in there. And one of them is, I'm so curious, what is a Saturn return?
So Saturn return, I didn't dive too deep into this in my spiritual journey, but in your astrology chart, like each each planet is in a certain house. So your
Oh.
quote Saturn return comes around like about age 28, 29, and then again around, I want to say, don't quote me on this if anybody's an expert out there, but I want to say like around in your 50s.
Okay.
So you go through 2 Saturn returns. And it's, for me, it was like diving deep into like who I was as a sovereign soul, like really like finding out who I was. And everyone, you know, Saturn can be in different houses for everybody, you know, not one astrology chart is the same. I'm a twin, and you know, it looks the same, but we are completely 2 different people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So mine was about exploring who I was. But I know some Saturn returns can look very different for people. You know, like I had a very major life event happen to me. Some people can get married very young in life, and then they end up getting divorced around their Saturn return because, you know, it's just like kind of that life shift going on.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And it's really interesting that you said, I was most curious because you said like the age where that would typically happen. And it feels very aligned to like what happened to me when I turned 28. I was like, oh my God, like everything's changed. And I couldn't explain it. And so now this is just something that I have to go explore some more.
Yeah,
So I was just curious.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome.
It's a huge, like, just energy shift, you know, like we're energy beings, we're light beings. So it's, you know, a huge energy shift that we all go through it. I mean, some people can be unconscious to it, of course, but those who are awake can be conscious to like what is transpiring during these few years of their life.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I can't stop smiling right now. I'm looking at you and I'm like, oh my God, I just love her. Cause like everything you're saying is so amazing. And I just love these types of conversations and like all of especially right now in the world, like I just really feel like given all the things that have been going on lately, we really need the light workers to step up. You know what I mean? Like all the people who live in the light, it's time to shine. And like, you know, I'm a mindset coach. And so I do this in my own mindset coaching way. And then other people are healers and they do it in their way. And, you know, you showing up with your light is so important and so needed, especially given what's going on right now. Right. But what do you think is like the purpose and the reason of all of this, like coronavirus stuff happening?
Oh, that's a great question, because there's definitely a you know, bigger plan in of it all. You know, it's not everything that you see or read on Facebook, but there's a lot of truth that is coming out now. We are being guided by you know, all of the ascended light beings and the Federation of Light, like all our galactic and cosmic beings. They are here. Like we are, you know, we're 3D humans here, but our souls, they're eternal, you know what I mean? So we have access to every single dimension. We have access to the 4th dimension and the 5th dimension right now, and more so than ever, we can feel these beings that are ascended in the 5th dimension who are pure love, and those are the ones guiding this huge global thing right now. And if you all know, like, it's not like a hurricane hit or like one country is affected. We as a globe, like the world had to shut down in order for them to bring in this outpour of love and light, like all of these higher frequencies. The world had to slow down and shut down to bring in this. So tomorrow is the first day of spring here in the States. So it'll be winter elsewhere. But there is a huge wave of energy coming in tomorrow. And it is pure love, and it's super intense. And we are in the midst of the coronavirus right now. And it's, you know, there is a virus. Yes, it's real. Some of you may think it's not real, but it is real. But there's a lot of things being covered up behind the scenes. You know, you see CEOs stepping down, you see a lot of people in power stepping down. And behind this is allowing our kind of neutrality, like everything's at neutral right now, you know what I mean? And we're going to see the world change. Like we are creating a new earth, the light workers, the healers, those who are called to rise, as you said, we are creating a new earth, but everyone here, we are one. So those who are asleep to what's going on, they are waking up, you know, all at their own rate. We're all on our own journey, but they are waking up, and we create a new earth. Like, it is happening. So, I kind of feel like this is going to continue. We may see it get worse before it gets better, but on the other side, it is nothing but like pure love, pure peace. And us as, those who are anchoring the love right now, like, that is our job.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single time I go out to the store, or I'm just, going somewhere, even though we're not meant to go somewhere right now, but if I'm going to the store and, you feel that chaos and panic and fear around you, it's happening external to you. We have a choice in every single moment to choose a different reality. And that different reality is of, a higher frequency of love and peace and vitality and happiness. And we get to choose that. So that's super important. It doesn't even matter if you're not aware that you're a light worker, because we're all light workers. You know what I mean? We're all waking up. So
exactly. It's so funny that you say that, because I was, I've been putting a lot of stuff like on my different social media channels about like things that you can do to shift your mindset and how you can become, as someone who sees the positive, how you can step out of the fear and into like the possibility and all of that stuff. Right. And so I wrote a blog post about some of it today, and then I posted it, and I'm like, I feel like this could go one of two ways. Like, people could either receive it really well and like resonate with it, but there's a whole other batch of people that would just never understand. And I actually ended up posting it on like LinkedIn with all of these like professionals and all these people who are probably like, what? But it was more to do with like your morning routine, and like, let's just accept the fact that we all have to work from home, and some of us are used to it and some of us are not, but it's all these different things that you can do, right? And it's like, maybe it's just, in my mind, I'm kind of like, is this the conversation we should be having? But like, this is the conversation that I want to be having. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't want to contribute to the fear and the panic and the chaos. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so much more than that.
Oh, I completely agree. And it's such a great time to, people may not understand that there's galactic forces and cosmic beings, at play here, but like, bring it down to a very practical level. Like, our thoughts create our reality. Like, we are the co-creator of our reality. So, bringing in those practical, like, just simple things that, maybe some of us take for granted. I mean, I don't, but some people do, but like, really inventorying your life right now. Like, what feels sluggish, like, change it. You know what I mean? Now's the time, because you have time. Like, time is no longer the excuse, because you have time. Like, you're home, you know what I mean? And it's really a beautiful opportunity to bring things into balance. So if you're feeling out of balance somewhere and you have that inventory, it's like, okay, wow, what can I do to shift? And like, I love that you said morning routines. Like, I'm so big on morning routines. Like, that is the best way to start your day, because how you start your day is how the whole day goes. And so, if you come with a hiccup somewhere in the middle of the day, you can always revert back to, how did I feel at the beginning of the day, and like, bring in that frequency.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, it's so true. And especially like the things that you do part of your morning routine. How grounded will you let yourself get? Like, how much in the moment are you going to let yourself be? How connected are you going to allow yourself to be? You know what I mean? And then remembering that it really sets the tone for the whole day. Like, I was saying to my fiance today, and like, I work like 9 to 5 as well. And it's an industry right now that is experiencing like a lot of craziness, right? And I was saying to him, like, I was like, oh my God, like, I know that I've done so much work on myself, because a year ago I would not have reacted to what is happening right now in the way that I am. It would have been like pure panic and chaos. And now it's like, it's going to be fine. It all gets done at the end of the day, and it all gets done in the way that it's supposed to get done,
No, I love that, because I actually reflected to myself and kind of congratulated myself about my response to it. It's good to be aware about what's going on, definitely behind the scenes, and keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
But I was the same thing. I was like, wow, a year ago or 2 years ago, I would not be in the place of how I'm just super calm. I'm super peaceful. Like, I'm choosing a different reality. And it's all of the work and the healing that I've done on myself to like calm my nervous system and just really keep that groundedness all day long. And if I'm feeling like that fear come in, I know it's not mine. So I'm able to like,
love that.
Detach from that.
I love that. Okay. I want to shift a little bit into mermaid world. How could you define a mermaid, and how do you define mermaid energy?
I love it. Okay. So a lot of people will probably identify with The Little Mermaid. I'm sure most people out there have seen the Disney movie, right?
Yeah.
That is not necessarily the definition. And if you go Google what a mermaid is, that obviously comes up. So I've always been a firm believer in whatever archetype or like even archangels, you know, it's like, how do you identify that for yourself? Like, what does it mean to you? That way it's like your sovereign definition of it and you're not influenced by what somebody else said. So I will tell you, you know, what mermaids mean to me. You know, take what resonates, and if you feel that, you know, she is something different to you, please take that. Like, that is my invitation to you. But like I said, my journey has been hugely influenced by anchoring into my feminine energy and really awakening that aspect of myself. So the mermaid is in pretty much from all the archetypes that I have studied, the mermaid is like the epitome of feminine beauty. And it's not just like a physical like looks kind of way. She is inside and out. So I firmly believe everything we do, business included, is the work from the inside out.
Oh yeah.
So how, you know, how your inner world is your outer world. And the mermaid is literally the epitome of feminine beauty to me, like energetically, physically, emotionally, and she's connected to the water. Like, femininity is very connected to our emotions. How are we able to flow through them, express ourselves? Just strength and independence. And I'm very much a firm believer in freedom. Mermaids are so free. Like, let's think about, like, the world has more water and than land. So that is something so beautiful to me. You know, we all have a different definition about what freedom means, and the mermaid archetype can help us in every aspect of that. And one of the most things that I love about the mermaid is her abundance, code that she carries within her. So that's financial abundance, wealth in everyday life, your own inner abundance. How are you feeling inside? So being able to anchor in that energy and, just really weaving them all together. And that's where I bring in being able to activate, your mermaid goddess. Cause goddesses, I love goddesses, right? It's like, so, a lot of the work that I do is, initially is like bringing in the mermaid goddess, like, let's activate that archetype and play with her. And, how does she want to be expressed? Like, how does she want to be embodied? What are the practices and things that she wants to bring forth? And then ultimately that brings out the truth, right? That's your radiance. That's your truth. That's your, what you want to share with the world. So, a lot of things, you'll read about like the sirens as well. So in like the Song of the Siren, where, the sirens would lure in men and then kill them. So yes, that is in myth. So whether you believe that or not, but it is written in myth. I identify that with as like the Song of the Siren is your truth. So I kind of weave in the siren archetype as well, bringing out that truth that we're meant to share. But that the mermaid is like hugely encompassing of a lot of different aspects of life. And it's not just to like business related, because being in a heart-centered business, I teach that, you are your business. So your business isn't like this external entity. It's, it's inside out. Yeah. So we work on you, and what better archetype to work with than the mermaid, and to like bring in everything.
That is so cool. Okay. So when you say like mermaid archetype, what would it be? Like, what other types of archetypes could be in like the same, okay, when you do those like archetype quizzes or whatever, like fine, okay, well, what else would be in that? Because I've never heard of that archetype before. So yeah, do you know what I'm trying? I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. So I identify with the straight up mermaid archetype, like feminine beauty, strength, independence, freedom. And then the siren archetype. So they are two different archetypes. You will see, like, if you go read and you go research, which, feel free to do if you desire. Yeah. some places will relate it as like one being. So like the siren is the mermaid, mermaid is the siren. I believe that they're two separate archetypes. So the siren is more, as I feel, is like pure confidence and like this you know, sensual allure, and also like freedom as well. And like I said, song of the siren, so like your truth, like your power, you know, not that a mermaid's not in her power, of course she is. It's just like the siren has this more like dynamic, I feel, to it. And then I also identify with goddess Aphrodite as an archetype within like the mermaid section. So these three are the ones that I truly believe is the archetypes that are encompassing with you know, mermaid energy. I haven't dived into you know, like mermaid archetype quizzes, because for me, I know I would get confused, and if I'm confused, then it's not my truth, you know. So those three are the ones that I personally work with, and that I identify within mermaid energy as archetypes. And I'll be happy to go over a little bit of goddess Aphrodite if you want.
Sure. I'm also curious, like how you was there like something you did to find this archetype?
No. So whenever I first had my spiritual awakening, like I said, 10, 11 years ago, I was working with a healer pretty regularly. She was also my spiritual mentor. And as a child, like I was always drawn to the ocean. Like I'm a beach girl at heart. Like I love the ocean. As a kid, you could not drag me out of the ocean. I loved it so much. I have a huge collection of seashells. So I just always had this like innate, like love for the ocean, just like somebody might have the love for like the mountains or something, you know?
Yeah.
So whenever I had my spiritual awakening, early on, it came up a lot in my sessions, that one of my spirit guides was a mermaid. And so my spiritual mentor would like describe what she looked like. And so you know, like I said, I didn't really, I kind of had like a resistance to her. Like I knew she was there. I'd call her in when I meditated and stuff, but like nothing too deep or profound. But I always just had this kind of all-knowingness that this archetype was super like connected to me. And then when I had my reawakening and really coming into my femininity and also exploring my sexuality, like mermaids are super into sexuality and like bringing that forth, it just came online. Like it got activated, and like I've been working with it ever since. And like I do healing on myself, but I also have healers, and in my sessions with my healers, like she also comes forth, and like I've seen past lives as myself as a mermaid. So so
I want to quickly pause this interview and tell you about the Handel Group coaches that I've had the honor and privilege of bringing onto the Happiness Happens podcast. With every conversation and interview, I've learned something so impactful and so life-changing. Inner You Life is the online coaching course from Handel Group that gives you the tools to get yourself unstuck, wildly happy, and thriving where it matters most to you. Your relationship to yourself, career, love, body, money, time, and more. From wherever, whenever. Recommended by Hugh Jackman, Dr. Mark Hyman, Forrest Whitaker, Elena Brower, and hundreds more. Taught in MIT, Stanford School of Business, and 50+ institutes of learning across the world. Visit inneryou.coach and use the code HAPPINESSHAPPENS at checkout for $75 off. Now, back to the episode.
So it's
I would love to learn more about that.
Oh, well,
like past lives and like how did, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off from what you were saying though. Just
oh my gosh, no worries. Yeah. Well, the soul lives forever, you know, like our souls come from many different places like star systems and whatnot. I know where my soul originated, but I also lived lifetimes in Lemuria and Atlantis. And one of my lifetimes in Atlantis, I was a mermaid. And so I know that is like one of my spiritual healing gifts. And being able, it's like just amazing. Like just the more work that I do on myself, healing wise and just mentoring wise, like spiritually and on my journey, more and more becomes apparent to me, how connected I am to the mer spirits. Like,
Oh
it's
my God,
amazing.
I love that.
And
What?
Oh, I was going to say, and mermaids, I want to say this too, because like the men out there, mermaids are just not for women, okay? So like there are mermen as well. You may not read a lot about it, but like there are mermen out there, mer dudes, like that's a real thing. Like there were men who were mermaids. So I don't know a lot about it, all of that. I haven't dove into it, but I definitely feel like someday my work will evolve into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just want to, for all the men out there, there's definitely the mermaid archetype is for you too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You hear that, all those men out there? Could be your past.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what are some of your past lives, if you feel like sharing?
Oh, of
you know
course.
all of them?
No, I definitely don't know all of them. And some of them were like horrific. So
Okay.
I won't go into those, but there was one recently that just came through for me. And the thing about past lives is that, as souls, we have contracts. And so when we experience something in a past life and then we incarnate in this lifetime, that past life, if we haven't healed that trauma that we've experienced, it can seep over into this lifetime and it can influence things in today's life for you. So recently, there was some things coming up for me and I was exploring them. And in my session with my healer, this past life came through about how I was a mermaid in Atlantis and I experienced a severe head injury and I drowned. And I knew I had drowned in Atlantis in a past life, but I didn't know how bad it was. So fun fact of the day, as I said, as a child, I loved the ocean. You couldn't drag me out of the ocean. I loved it so much. So around 17, something shifted in me and I have not been in the ocean since. Like I'll put my feet in the ocean. Yeah. So I'll put my feet in the ocean. I'll go up like knee deep, but I want to say like 1 or 2 times I have like floated. Like other than that, I have not been in the ocean. I'm scared to death. So this past life that I just said is hugely influenced by that kind of resistance that I experience of not being able to get in the ocean. And it's not that I have a fear of the ocean. It's not that I'm going to like get eaten by a shark or anything like, super physical like that. It's just like this super resistance to it. And so that was all wrapped into this past life. And that past life was also affecting certain things in my entrepreneurship that I was experiencing. And it was because I still had a contract of that trauma that was experienced from that head injury. So we cleared all of that up. And this was a little over a week ago and like it shifted immediately. Now I don't live by the ocean, so I can't tell you if I'm, got in the ocean yet, but, but like the things that I was experiencing in my personal life, in my business, in my entrepreneurship, because I have like several different streams of income, those things have shifted 100%. And like, I just feel so much lighter not having that contract in place. So it's funny how I love that you're a mindset coach. And so like there was a lot of things like the subconscious beliefs that were coming up through this story and this past life that still had all these contracts in place. So being able to clear that past life was able then to shift things going on present day for me. So past lives are hugely influenced. And whenever I first awakened, I was not aware of how like important past lives were. So when we clear past lives, we're not only clearing like this, like today's lifetime, we are clearing at least 7 generations back, also 7 generations forward. So yeah, it's like, it's huge. So like you could be clearing something in your past life, but you could also be clearing that for like a family member that was also in your soul family in that lifetime. That was like all affecting some story that you were experiencing today. Like that's how cool it is. So like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm also a healer. That's my like Mermaid Alchemy Activator. Like, so we do healing in the work that I do. And so being able to like, you know, healing work goes in layers. So, you know, past lives, like some huge past life maybe won't come up in the first session, but being able to explore that deeper is like super amazing and super transformational if, you know, the client is able to go that deep and, you know, definitely more in like an extended container.
That's so cool. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now, because I've been working with a healer for the last few months or so, since January, and I want to know more about like the past lives, and I want to know more about how like all of that impacts your life now, you know what I mean? So it's just really interesting to me that, you know, that you've done it and then you go through it and you continue to do it. So I'll have to keep you posted.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll have like a cool one.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've had some cool past lives too, you know, like where I've been royalty and, you know, like it's cool because then you realize like in this life, you start to be aware, like, you know, like your name means something. And then, so I realized like I was royalty in a past life, but like my name means the crowned one. So that means that like I'm carrying those codes, you know, like those high priestess codes. And so it's just so amazing, like how it's all connected, and those little kind of breadcrumbs when you find out just like helps you awaken to yourself more. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's amazing, you know?
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, I eat that up all day.
I know, me too. I'm like, okay, so what's next? Actually, I'm curious, how could someone get most connected to their, you know, to their soul self and to like the innermost part of them?
I love it. So I'm going to bring it back to like complete basics, and given where we're at right now, like what a great time to do that. So first and foremost, like really slowing down, like creating a sacred space for yourself, and like environment is so important. So, you know, if that means getting out in nature at your favorite tree and like just sitting there for like, you know, even if it's 15 minutes, but whatever it looks like, set the ambience for yourself, set a sacred space for yourself, and just take the time and give yourself permission to be with you. And listen, I know, and I've experienced how difficult that might be. So even if it's just 5 minutes and, you know, you take an extra 5 minutes in the car before you get out, like sit with yourself, take some deep breaths, just bring yourself into awareness with yourself. I love that. Like, that's like one of the first things to just kind of like bring awareness, because a lot of people just don't even know the awareness of themselves, you know, because when you start to bring awareness to yourself, you can go deeper with yourself. You can be more in tune with what, you know, is going on in your energy field, or how you feel in your body. It's super important how you feel in your body. So when you start to clear out the noise, you can really start to tune in with how your body feels physically, like how do you feel inside emotionally, and really start to take inventory of those things.
I love that. That's such a great point, especially about, you know, just being very aware of yourself to begin with, because I think a lot of the time it's like, okay, you can go ahead and like do all of these different types of meditations, or you can go ahead and do all these different types of things. But if you don't have that initial awareness to begin with, you're going to sit there and get frustrated because you don't know what it's like the same, you know, when people are like, I don't understand, like, I don't know what I'm doing, it's not working. You know what I mean? But once you have that awareness, you realize how it works differently, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And listen, we've all experienced being in our heads about trying to understand. And like, first and foremost, like the spiritual is the unseen world, right? So, and the energy right now, it is literally the unseen world. And it's like, we have to have that inner trust. So take this time, like carve out 5 minutes, or heck, make it 10, but 5 minutes. I challenge you to 5 minutes, like sit with yourself, really breathe. And if you can get outside, like more power to you. But if you can't, I understand too. But, you know, once you clear out that noise, you're going to start to be able to hear your inner workings. And when you start to hear your inner workings, like your soul is speaking to you. Like your soul is speaking to you every second of the day. Most of us just don't hear it, right? Because we're so cluttered in our heads. We're so cluttered in our energy field. And most of the time, it's not even our our stuff that is being cluttered.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. So whenever, really creating that space for yourself, and, that's self-love. Like, that is the epitome of self-love. You give yourself permission to be with yourself, and it will get easier. Like, whenever I first started meditating, it was 5 minutes a day. And I literally sat there. I'm like, okay, Spirit, I have no idea what I'm meant to do, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to turn on the music. And I started just clearing my head and bringing my awareness to my breath. And it just got easier over time. And,
Yep.
Find what works for you. Like, it's not that you just have to sit there. Like, maybe in time it's a movie meditation. Maybe you want to go walk and not be on your phone, right? Leave your phone at home. Maybe it's yoga and you're really being conscious of how you're feeling in your body, and it's not just going through the motions. So soul is always there. You're always connected to your soul. It's just being able to take the time to get still.
I love that. What's like a non-negotiable thing that you do to, like, every single day to align with your purpose and, how you want to live every day?
I would definitely revert back to my morning routine, because my morning routine includes meditation and self-healing. So, and I combine them both. So I'm always in communication with my spirit guides and my higher self, and really just like asking the questions, sitting with myself, like, that is non-negotiable. And whether it's 15 minutes or an hour, like, I've literally meditated for over an hour, like, some days are longer, but like, that's non-negotiable for me, because if I'm not connected, then I can't serve to my highest good, right? I can't take care of me. So I know that the most important thing at the end of the day is me, and taking care of me. And that starts with sitting with myself, meditating, doing my self-healing. And it's profound. Like, that is the number one thing.
Oh, I love that. That's so important. And you take the time for yourself too, and then you just end up feeling good every single day. And like you said, like, you serve your people in the way that you want to and are supposed to.
Yes, I love it, because most of the world serves from an empty cup. And I am a firm believer, if my cup is empty, I am not being in service. Like, it's out of integrity of me. And literally, I'm not practicing what I tell my clients, you know what I mean? Or
So
just
true.
my friends, So, like, self-care and self-love is number one in my business. And that is taking care of me. And that way I'm in high service, I'm in high integrity in, what I do. And like, that is just like greater energy exchange to my clients, and then they can go and their lives are so much fuller. So, and just everyone that surrounds me as well, like, I'm in my purpose whenever I'm in my pure love state.
Oh, I love that so much. What's a Mermaid Alchemy Activator? So that's like what you do, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
that is kind of like my signature thing that I've just encompassed everything that I do.
Oh, okay.
So I do have, several healing modalities that I work with. And I also just have like my innate wisdom, like what my soul is here to share through, mermaid magic and, these archetypes that are just so beautiful, that are meant to change the world, So it came through one day, like Mermaid Alchemy Activator. I'm like, oh, I love it, because I can blend all of my healing modalities, and I have, several energy frequencies that are just through my soul blueprint.
Wow.
Amazing. So, I'm able to interweave all of these modalities together and have a blend of like mentoring and coaching and healing. So whenever all of those come online, it's like I'm completely activating that person that I'm working with. Those codes are being downloaded, their energy is being cleared, and whatever frequencies they need, whether that's just a verbal transmission like we're doing right now, they're receiving that. So it's just a really beautiful blend of everything that I do. And that's what she wanted to be called, because everything's consciousness, so that's what she wanted to be called.
Exactly. Oh, I love that so much. That's so amazing. So what are the different types of energies that you said you have a few different energy frequencies? What would they be like? Does that make any sense?
So my own soul blueprint, or the other modalities that I work with?
I'd say like the other modalities that you work with.
Okay. So I'm a Reiki master. That was one of my first, so I went
Okay.
through all of the different Reikis to become a Reiki master. That was one of the first ones that I did.
Cool.
I want to say maybe like 6 or 7 years ago.
Nice.
And then I'm also a starlight energy practitioner. So that energy is of the 7th dimension. And it's universal love. It's pure love. Like beautiful energy. And then I'm also a sacred soul alignment practitioner. So and that is also ascended energy, like super powerful, but also, so when I say super powerful, it's not some kind of, like, it won't whack you out. I know there's some energy that's like super intense. This is a super gentle, but like also very, very powerful. Like it shifts like things immediately. It's amazing. So I blend all those three together along with frequencies that I have. So like obviously like the mermaid, and I work with the ocean. So I have several different like attunements and activations with the water, and like the mermaid goddess. We go through a journey. Like I have several journeys when I have attunements and activations to go through and bring those online. And then there's always universal frequencies that are available to us. So I call in ascended masters and archangels and things like that all the time that if they're meant to be present, I work with as well.
I love it. Do you have an archangel that comes through the most for you?
I would say Archangel Michael. Like he's always with me. I love him. And just whenever I'm out and about, or if I'm traveling, I always ask for, protection. And yeah, he's always been present with me. And I also want to know, all of the frequencies and all of the energies that I work with are 100% love and light. So I also want to like make that
yes
present. Yeah,
I think it's very clear though, in just your energy in general. Yeah.
Just in case
there's no dark energy over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
None at all. How could someone, begin to shift from things that don't necessarily fill their soul, let's say, maybe they know they're meant for more. How would you explain or guide someone to making that shift from something that doesn't quite feel aligned to finding what does?
I love it. We've all experienced that as well. And that is something that on the journey, we experience in different capacities all the time. So for someone, newly awakening, I'll address there, newly awakening, like if something's not feeling good, once you start that stillness and like meditation and being aware, like you're going to feel it. Like you're going to feel it in your body. You're going to feel it with the people or person you're hanging out with. You're going to be like, this just doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. So it's really first acknowledging to yourself, because a lot of people will just shove it off and they'll shove it under the rug and like not even pay attention to it. So like acknowledge it and then give yourself permission to change. So the change may be uncomfortable, but it's going to be better. So like if you don't enjoy hanging out with the people that you surround yourself by, get new people in your life. Like surround yourself by new people. Like go try something that you've been wanting to try and maybe like you just haven't had time for, or you're just like, oh, I'll do it later. Like go try it, because that's your soul speaking to you. And the more you stay in something that doesn't fill your soul, it's going to keep sucking you dry, and it's going to literally keep you at the bottom of the barrel and like your cup being empty. So like surround yourself by things that make you feel good, because when you feel good, then you're able to be of high service. Like no matter if it's in your work, in your relationships, in love, period, like you're a different person. So change up your environment, change up the people that you are with. And it's not, listen, don't go cold turkey on like your entire life. That you will self-sabotage that way. Yeah. I don't want you self-sabotaging. Okay. But like, change, if it doesn't feel good, give yourself permission to maybe change one thing in your life. Or, and if you need support from a friend or a coach or whatever, like seek support. Like there's no shame. There's literally no shame in it. So a lot of people get caught up in like feeling shameful or what their friends may think or what their family may think. Listen, at the end of the day, it is your journey and yours alone. It's no one else's. And if you are able to make that shift and be the example for someone else who may not have that courage to, you're doing your job. You're being the change. And so this is my permission to give you the permission, you know, go do what sets your soul on fire, like find it. And if you don't know, try some things out. Like everything that you find that you don't like, it's more of what you do like.
True.
Yeah. You're going to whittle it down to what you do like. So just literally go have fun. Like,
I love that. I love that. And it's actually a really, really good point that you make. And I think it's a lot of the time, it's like, you know, people forget how to have fun. You know, it's so go, go, go all the time. Even like, I even think of like all the stuff that I've seen online, for example, around this coronavirus, if people like, I don't have kids, so I couldn't imagine what it's like, you know, to be home with your kids for 3 weeks. But like, I see so many people complaining, but like in my perspective, it's like, you get to spend 3 weeks uninterrupted with your kids. You know what I mean? Like you'll never get to do that again. You know what I mean?
Yes. And that is so important. Like, and it's even just that different perspective, you know, and it's like, you know, like we both were saying earlier, our thoughts create our reality. So the more you complain or the more you're in a negative vibration, the more you're going to attract that to you. And that's going to be your reality. So when you choose to see a different perspective and you choose to see something else that feels better, you're shifting, right? So given, you know, the times that we're in the coronavirus, it's like, what a gift, like what a blessing that I don't have children either. So I'm sympathetic with you as well. But like from my perspective, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what a blessing I get to be at home. And like, I work from home. So what a blessing. They're home. I get to spend more time with them. And growing up in an entrepreneurial family, like that would be so amazing for my children to like witness me being able to work in times that we're in, but also lending all of that wisdom and all of that knowledge to them and giving them a different perspective. Like, you want to know what? The 9 to 5, it doesn't have to be like that. Like that doesn't have to be your reality. There is another reality, you know, and kind of just expanding their vision, you know?
Yes.
So it's a really great time to just explore so many things. And really, you know, you can either settle into what you think the reality of this time is, or take the time to see a greater perspective.
I love that. Oh my gosh. You're saying all the things that are making my soul really happy. I have one last question for you before we end, because I can't believe how quickly time has flown by talking to you. It's just felt like such a fun conversation and so easy, you know?
I know. I loved it.
Really has. Me too. I really have too. And I like to end it on like a high note. And it's a question that I ask all my guests when they come on the show. And it's, how could someone create a little bit of happiness in their life every day starting today?
I love it. So I feel like this whole episode is about creating happiness.
I know, right? So just like pause here and go back to the start, restart again. And go.
Yeah, but no, like in all reality, it's my invitation to really invite you to just become present with yourself. And like little things, like go buy yourself some flowers, like go buy yourself a gift that you haven't, like it doesn't even have to be that much money. Like go buy yourself that you've denied yourself, like something like that will like literally shift your reality. And every day, I don't know, I'm just a firm believer in like literally wear a smile on your face everywhere you go and be in gratitude, especially where we're at right now. Like everywhere I go, I thank that person, because listen, customer service, it's like they are dealing with the same story, same chaos every day. Be in gratitude and wear a smile. Like a smile is contagious. So that is like, you know, our brain does not realize what we're experiencing or what we're thinking. It's all the same. So like our expressions, like it literally changes. So wear a smile, say thank you, be in gratitude, be in love, buy yourself some flowers, like just surround yourself by good, happy things.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. And where can our listeners find you if they want to learn more?
You can.
I know they will. So
yeah, I love it. I can't wait to like connect with all of you guys. So you can find me on Instagram at Steffi, Stephie, Sirena, and on Facebook, Stephanie Sirena.
Awesome.
Oh, and my website, www.stephaniesirena.com.
I love it. I'll put all of those in the show notes so that everyone can find it so easily.
Yay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was so fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It was such a pleasure. And I so look forward to connecting with all of you out there. And I hope that you take some wisdom and nuggets out of this episode, and wish you all so much love.
Thank you. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. Like we were saying, there's so much amazing stuff to learn from this episode, so many incredible nuggets of wisdom and things that you can take and implement into your life right now. There's always a different perspective, always something new to see. So thanks again for tuning into this episode, and remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope these words have brought you inspiration, insight, and a bit more happiness. Please leave a comment or a review if this episode resonates with you. I would be so grateful. Until next time, remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.